amplified.
You are now listening to Failing Adds Up with your co-hosts George Jr. Ibarra and Antonio Romero. Stay tuned.
Another episode of the Failing Adds Up podcast. My name is Antonio Romero, and alongside with me, always on every single episode, I got
Junior Ibarra. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What is up? Hey, guys, we are so excited for this. Not only this episode, but you guys are seeing us for the first time ever. We have actually tried to record an episode. It was with Dave Ferris, if you remember that, Junior. We tried to record the Dave Ferris episode with cameras and doing the visual piece, but we had some technical difficulties. But now we're up and running, and we got it working. We do want to make sure we give a huge shout out to the Amplified team. That's Amplified DSM and the man over there, Abraham Lopez. Let's go. Shout out to Abraham behind the cameras. And, you know, we got this set up now, and here for the continuing videos, we will definitely keep trying to record here as much as possible. So huge shout out to them, and we're excited to continue to push out more and more content and also to, do this visual piece. But tying into all this, you know, we have a super exciting episode today. And, you know, is there anything that you kind of want to say about the setup and all that?
No, I'm excited. This is going to be our official first episode on YouTube, so super excited about this. Again, we're hoping to bring more visual output there, more visual content. So, again, super excited. I'm just really excited to, get to learn about this guest. You know him better than I. Yeah, with that being said, let's go after it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I actually met our guest here back in 2019, I believe, maybe 2020. We'll correct it here once we get him on the show. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten to see him grow and really build the Empire business, and it's been super exciting to just kind of watch and see from the sidelines. And you know, I look up to this guy. I follow him on social medias and all that. So we ran into each other at a game, and I knew I had to get him on the podcast when we did the visual piece. I'm like, you know what? The very first visual episode we're going to do has to be with this guest. So let me go ahead and actually introduce him. His name is Taufeek Shah, owner of Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. He was actually listed as one of the top people to watch here in the Des Moines area on the 2023 list that he will talk about. So please help me introduce Taufeek Shah.
Hey, let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome, Taufeek. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you so much, Antonio and Junior, for having me here. It's awesome. It's good to see you again, man.
I know it. So we met back in, was it 2019 or 2020?
I think it was 2019. I think right before the pandemic.
Yeah. So I remember. We met back then, and then we kind of stayed in contact for maybe a good year, and then after that, it was almost like we didn't really maintain that contact at all, right?
Yeah. It was just crazy time because after COVID hit, everybody, I think, we were just prepping for whatever was going on and just focused on growing our businesses and making it through. So it was a good time.
Yeah, and I remember so a majority piece of our content is talking about the failures, hence Failing Adds Up, right? Talking about the failures and sacrifices and the way we think about failures, it's not actually a failure, right? That's why you're slowly learning throughout that process until it becomes successful, right? And we see it all over the place. I mean, even I think that light bulb failed 99 times until the 100th time it was an actual light bulb, right? So things like that. But where I wanted to piggyback off of that is, I think around that time, either you were just starting Lola's Fine, the restaurant, or how far in were you into having the restaurant? And correct me, because I know it was a branded off of that, right?
Yeah. So it's a good question. So maybe take it back from the beginning. So I founded Lola's back in 2016. So Lola's, for those who don't know, it's a generational family recipe hot sauce from my mom, Lola. She is an immigrant actor from the Philippines that came to Iowa in the 80s to take care of local farmers.
Oh, wow.
And during that time, nobody wanted to come to Iowa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there's nothing here. And my mom, she's just so passionate about caring for people. She's like, I want to go someplace that is just completely new and take care of the folks. So Mom came here. My dad came as well. Dad was also a doctor, served 20 years in the U.S. Army.
Oh, wow.
Growing up, it's kind of crazy because my sisters, they're about 10 to 15 years older than me.
Oh.
So like by the time I could really like do some competent stuff, you know, like math and all that stuff, they were already in college.
Oh,
You know what I mean? They
wow.
were so
Okay.
much older than me.
Yeah.
So they kind of took care of you, maybe, right?
A little
little
bit.
bit.
They taught me a little bit too.
They taught you how to be strong. They're like, go out into the world, right?
Exactly. So growing up, you know, my dad, he had been actively deployed. So he spent, you know, gosh, a good portion of my childhood actively deployed in like El Paso, New Mexico. He was at Fort Bliss. He was in White Sands, New Mexico, and a couple of Air Force bases and military bases across the U.S. So, anyways, the funny thing, the running joke in our family was, does your dad work on aliens? Because he was always in like hot
yes.
spots. I don't think that's the case.
You're not allowed to talk
Oh,
about
well,
it.
he didn't disclose that to you,
Yeah, he
right?
didn't disclose that. It was just a friend thing at school. But anyways, my mom, you know, she ran her own medical practice, always wanted to make sure that I had a warm, hot meal at the dinner table. My mom essentially raised me, and it was always accompanied, whatever meal was, by our hot sauce, the same stuff that's right in front of you guys right now. So, you know, I just been eating it like a normal staple. And fast forward to 2016, you know, I was working my corporate job, brought some of that hot sauce in because my mom had always made it. You know, she'd make in these giant mason jars, and
Oh,
she'd
cool.
just bring them to me. Brought it into a food day. People loved it, and we started selling it at farmers markets. And here we are today. Fast forward to 2023. We're in over 13,000 retailer and restaurants across North America.
Wow.
That's amazing. And
Man.
that's where I'm telling you, like, it was so inspirational to see, because back when we met, do you know the numbers of when we met?
Oh, yeah. 2019, we were probably maybe in, I want to say less than 2,000, probably even, maybe less than 1,500. So it was just crazy because at the time we were just in Hy Vee. We were in a few local restaurants. We were in some fairways. And at the time, I think it was called Dolls or maybe Price Chopper. I can't remember.
okay.
But yeah, it wasn't too far. And Kroger. So it wasn't too broad. You know what I mean?
I want to bring it back a little bit more, though, because our guests and our followers that are following along here, how do you go from taking it to your work to mass producing it? Like, how do you, like, I assume in the very beginning it was like your mom making it all in the kitchen.
Oh, no. It was both my mom and I making it in
Okay.
the kitchen.
So how do you convince them to do that, right? Like, how do you, like, I have this idea, we're going worldwide and starting here in Des Moines, right? Like, how do you do that?
And, you know, that's the beauty of my mom. Like, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, you know, whether it's selling junk on eBay or not junk, but just items that are of value on eBay to whatever it is, you know. And my mom always has supported me in those endeavors. And I remember at that food day, everybody was like, this is the best hot sauce. I called my mom on my lunch break. I'm like, Mom, people love your hot sauce. Let's just start doing farmers markets and making it. My mom's like, okay. You know, it was just that simple.
So that was the initial thought, is like,
Yeah.
well, if people at work will buy it, then why not anyone else?
Exactly. And, you know, like it consumed me from that day on. It became an obsession because I would work full time. And then in the evenings, I would design like the logo. I would figure out, how am I going to do this? You know, I'd research it because I know nothing of food. My background is finance. And I was just like, how the heck am I going to get this off the ground? So my mom, you know, was a big instrumental part in that because she's like, okay, well, we need to go buy garlic. We need to go buy peppers. And
But you're not even thinking
I'm
about
not even
half of
thinking
those
about
things.
that.
right?
I'm thinking about like, what are we going to call this thing?
Yeah,
You know?
You're like, what color is the logo going to be?
Exactly. You know, and it's funny, you know, before calling it Lola's, and I'll dive into what Lola's means later on, but I was going to call it Hot Shaw's. And I was going to do a flavor for each one of our family members. So
wow,
we'd have like my oldest sister Fatima would be like Fatima's style, and then Hannah's like Hannah's way, and then Talon, my son, would be like Talon's surf and turf or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, shout out to Talon. He's here in studio.
yep,
Let's
I got
go,
my son
Talon.
back there. He's the best. So anyways, I was just trying to figure out the schematics of it. Well, my mom really was the driving force behind the brand. She's like, well, we got to get the garlic. We got to get the peppers. And I remember we would, on weekends, we would go rent out a commercial kitchen. It was actually a Mexican restaurant in the Valley Junction called, at the time it was called maybe Tres Amigos, I think. But it was like, I think it's the old Billy V's now. It's like a house.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird type of restaurant.
Yeah.
But we would get our produce fresh from La Tapatia down here in Des
Oh,
Moines.
nice.
yeah,
On
yeah.
Southeast 14th.
So- Like the big
they
one,
have
the
the
big one,
best
right?
produce,
Yeah.
the best food.
Oh,
So
heck yeah.
when the produce truck would come, we'd be like, okay, it's like doing a shady deal. We're like sitting there like, hey, how much for a box of red jalapenos?
As they're unloading
the truck. And we were like, this is kind of strange.
5 a.m. in the morning.
Exactly. Sometimes at 1 a.m. when they
goodness.
receive truckloads. It was
That's the behind the scenes stuff that some people don't see, right?
Exactly.
And like I also remember that too. Like we've had conversations about majority of these things, and I remember we connected very well on that. We feel like Filipinos and Mexicans are on the same wavelength.
They are. You know, if you meet a guy or a man or a woman with a Spanish name but doesn't look Spanish, they're probably Filipino because we got the same name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we got like trying to think. You know, there's Campos, there's
Marinas.
You know, like Junior is a very popular Filipino name too.
Yeah.
So.
Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny.
Because if I recall, Philippines was conquered by Spain back in the day and was under Spanish rule. So a lot of the locals mingled together. And even Tagalog, the language where Lola comes from, is actually, it's very similar to Spanish. You know, my mom doesn't know any Spanish, but we were able to go to Mexico, I remember, and she was able to have a full-blown conversation with some of these folks.
That's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know like there's even some like the words are similar, right? There's one word in particular that I won't say because if my parents are watching, then I'm saying a bad word in Spanish. But it's a food for you guys, right?
Yes, it is. Yep, I know what you're talking about. It's a sweet rice cake, actually. It's really good. It's a dessert.
We'll leave it at that. You guys have to look
it up. Look it up. Look it up.
Absolutely.
And that's where I feel like it was just so cool to hear your story about like how you even mentioned like your mom would just always have that the sauce on the salsa on the table, right? Always
absolutely.
Ready to go.
She would make hot sauce and salsa as well. So like being a doctor in a rural town, because I grew up in a small town with 700 people. So Winthrop, Iowa was where my mom's practice was. A majority of her patients were farmers, and they would bring in the freshest produce growing up. I remember like some of my mom's good friends would they had these massive gardens, and they would just bring my mom boxes of tomatoes and all kinds of peppers, and my mom was always looking for a way to preserve them. So we'd have salsa, we'd have hot sauce, we'd have all kinds of delicious things. Whatever she found, she made something with it.
Oh my goodness! So how do you go from doing the deal at La Tapatilla to like you're picking out the garlic and all that stuff to like how do you start getting it up and going where it starts being known outside of say the farmers market and stuff like that? Like what's the business side of this? So I feel like there's two things. There's the business, and then there's like the production going from like renting out a small space at Valley Junction in a restaurant to like, things are starting to grow. Like, what's that transition story there?
That's such a good story. It's a good question too. So like, just diving into it, my mom was mainly the one producing the sauce. All I would do is I would try to find these bottles. Like where could I buy these bottles at? So I'd buy them in bulk online, just go to Amazon or wherever at the time, which is way too expensive for what we needed. Okay. But eventually, we found a good wholesaler where we could get them in bulk. And a cool thing, your podcast is about failures, because I don't view failures as failures. I view them as lessons learned. And one of them is we were making our hot sauce for the farmer's market in our house.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's a no-no. You can't just make stuff in your house, which blows my mind, because, like, you could go downtown Des Moines or Valley West or wherever it is, whatever farmer's market. You can sell baked goods out of your house, but sauces and jams, you can't. You actually have to have a commercial process.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So luckily, my mom and I, we were making it out of our house, out of her kitchen, just straight from her kitchen, straight to the market. And, we were selling it. Health inspector came and said, "Hey, where do you make your stuff at?" I'm like, "Oh, we make it in our kitchen." And I was so proud of it. Health inspector's like, "Oh, tell me more about this kitchen."
He's like, "I got one."
He's like, "Oh," and I'm like, and then I realized, oh crap, this guy is really trying to investigate this deal. Anyways, he was a nice guy. And he's like, "Hey, I'll let you off the hook this time. Just know that in the future, you've got to manufacture it out of a commercial kitchen." So learned a lesson there. We had to pay a fine. At the time it was expensive. A couple $100, expensive fine. Heck yeah. But glad. I mean, with our product, it's cooked, so people can't, and it's so there's acidity level, so people can't get sick off it. You know what I mean? But I guess I still don't understand it, but it was a lesson learned.
Yeah.
So anyways, to answer your question, I would work on the business side all the time, because that's where it was. And so the part of the business side was finding a commercial kitchen. So I would call restaurants and say, "Hey, can I just come in and use your kitchen 1 or 2 nights a week? About everyone said no. You know, they thought, who is this guy, number one? And number two, this is crazy. He wants to use our tools and come on in. And anyways, it was the Tres Amigos in Valley Junction that took a chance on us. And it was a bar. It was a bar/kitchen. Okay. The caveat to this rule was we could only come in at 1 a.m. when the bar closed. So, yeah, so, you know, imagine like a Friday night. Everybody's out having dinner and drinking, and then 1 o'clock the bar closes. We come in right afterwards and start making sauce.
And you were still working?
Like
still your full-time job?
Oh, 100%. I was working. My schedule was a little bit unique because I was working in finance. I was working on asset retention and sales for a big organization here downtown Des Moines, and I would cover the western part of the country. So my schedule's different. I cover a lot of California.
Gotcha.
So I'd come in a little bit late to work. I had a flex schedule where I'd come in at 10 in the morning and I'd leave sometimes at 6, 7, or 8 at night. So all those hours in between, which doesn't leave much, was all spent on the business side of Lola's, figuring out labels. Like, how am I going to label this thing?
You had no background in this, right?
No, not at all. Nope. But the funny thing is, like, once I got into it, and, you know, I actually designed this logo. I mean, we had help of a third party, not AI software, but a software that kind of takes what you have and envisions it. But cool. I sharpened it up at the time, and it just became an obsession. Like, I loved what I did from the moment people's faces lit up at work. It just became an obsession. So, always wanted to do everything perfect. So I tried to find the best label, Craft Avery labels from Office Max.
Okay.
Shameless plug, right?
Shameless plug. Yeah,
I'm not trying
to, but that's all I could get at the time. Yeah. So I remember labeling those things was just a pain in the butt. Man, we'd have to double side the label, right? Because we'd have to have new ingredients and then a front. So I'd slap a label on one side and then slap another one on the back, and imagine doing that like every night for like 20 cases of hot sauce.
You would do it yourself.
Oh yeah, everything was done by hand. Yeah, we were all doing it by hand. My mom was peeling the fresh garlic, de-seeding and dicing up the fresh red jalapenos. We were squeezing lime juice. Oh my God. I remember after the weekend, man, my hands were so sore because we divided it up in tasks. So 2 days before, my mom would prep. Wednesday, Thursday, my mom would get fresh garlic, because that's really what makes our product amazing, is we use fresh American garlic, which is incredible. And so my mom would take it, dice it up, and you can imagine those cloves of garlic take forever. You have to peel that seed back and all the skin and the husk. And so she would peel just pounds, like 50 to 100 pounds. Wow. That's a lot of work. So she would do that, and then I would cut limes in half and then use a juicer that we got. But I mean, even the juicer, you got to press it down. I was getting ripped back in the day from just producing.
Big old arms popping out of the shirt.
Not anymore.
So, like, you spoke a little bit about passion, right? Mm-hmm. But especially there at the beginning, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, if you have some, like, words of wisdom for them, like, what was your why? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, why were you doing what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, my why, and always is today, is for my mom. You know, I mean, growing up, watching her take care of, you know, local Iowa farmers and just people around the world. She ran a medical practice where I got to watch her run her own business. She would see anybody and anyone that came through her doors. It didn't matter whether you had health insurance or not. She wanted to make sure that you were healthy, that you were taken care of. And that's the type of upbringing that I had, is somebody that was always there to make sure you're good. And, you know, growing up, I wasn't the best kid. I got into some trouble being in high school, you know, and just, you know, having a good time. And she always stood by me to make sure that I made it to where I need to be with a successful outcome. And I just think back of how hard it must have been, because, you know, my parents are together, but when the Army says you got to go, my dad was gone. You know, he had to go serve our great country to make sure that we're taking care of everything. So seeing her hard work raising me is the why. And I can't think of a better reason to give back to the community, to the world, than to share this recipe that has been in my family forever from her. So that's my why, is to spread the love and joy that she gave me growing up with the rest of the world.
Dang, that's powerful.
It brings you to tears sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But really, that's the driving force behind the brand.
How do you feel like looking back, like, at those times, reminiscing on that?
Yeah, you know, it's reminiscing back, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was a good upbringing. I had a great time, especially when I came to Des Moines, and started going to college here. I came from a town with 700 people. There were maybe 15 kids in my senior class.
Wow.
Which is significantly smaller. Antonio, there's probably like hundreds in yours,
I think we were like 400 or 500.
Yeah. Like my fiance's class had like 1,000, and I'm just like, gosh, that's like our whole town and then some. So, I wouldn't change for the world because I learned great Iowa hardworking values. We talk about our farmers and our community and how Iowa nice. It's a real thing, and you really get the heart of that by growing up in that community, and that's what I've grown up with, those values. So.
Oh yeah. You go into those communities, even here in Des Moines, right? You get a 4-way stop. You're like, you go. No, you go.
Exactly.
No, you go. And then you wave and you smile.
no one
But in
goes.
New York, it's like, get out of my way.
Yeah. Like, get the finger.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe more. Who knows?
That's awesome. So then you started making it out of a commercial kitchen at a Mexican restaurant after 1 a.m., working 24/7.
Yes.
And then how do you make that leap to, like, are you still in a Mexican? Right? I assume you're not, obviously.
Yep.
How do you now transition into the next phase? Like, how do you make those leaps and bounds? Are you still like working the business side of things? Your mom's still like everybody's chipping in and on the limes and the garlic and everything. How do you get that into like a higher, like a production level?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, after that, we were doing farmers markets and the business kept growing. And at the time, when we were making the hot sauce, there was nobody in Iowa that could manufacture a product for us. Really what it comes down to is if you got a great idea and you got a great product, you just Google your Yahoo Finance, whatever, search for your favorite co-packer and see if they can make your product. Because there are a lot of manufacturing companies across the world that specialize in hot sauces and salsas. At the time, being relatively new, Iowa had nothing of that sort. I think it does now, but not to the extent that we do, because I've seen maybe a couple of other Iowa hot sauce brands, but they're not using real peppers. They're using like a powder, or they're using like a lot of fillers and sugars to like make essentially something like that. But anyways, to get to your question, you have to find the experts. You have to do the research. You got to put in the time.
And how are you doing that? You're just
Yeah, so I found a great manufacturing partner back when I started. They were out of state. We had worked with them for a while, and we actually hit their capacity for manufacturing because we kept winning new deals. Hy Vee brought us on board, Fairway, then it was Kroger, then it was H-E-B, Central Market.
Wow.
And then, just the list goes on, and we outgrew that capacity. And so now, to date, where we are, we actually have 4 manufacturing facilities across the country we partner with.
Wow.
Some here in the Midwest, too. Just logistically speaking, it doesn't make sense a lot of the time to make things in one central place. Because think about this. Our product uses fresh, real red jalapenos. We're not using fake powders or anything like that. So there's a shelf life on that perishable product, right? For fresh red jalapenos, they only stay red for so long before they turn color, right? So we got to get it and we got to transport it in a certain amount of time. So and where do they come from? They come from California. They come from warmer states that grow peppers. You can't grow.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, you can't.
For logistics. Like, how do you do all that?
Exactly. You can't grow that fresh supply and have the same consistency if you're moving it all across the country, or you're paying crazy amount of fees for freight, right? You're paying for a refrigerated truck that's 20-30% more than a regular, LTL or full truckload. So we've found a way to really hone in on the flavor, to give that consistency and great flavor by producing our products where we can get the most efficiencies. We try to produce as much as we can centrally here to get to, the Hy Vees and Fairways, but we're also in Alberts and Safeway, and on the West Coast. Does it make sense to bring ingredients from the port of California back to Iowa only to truck it back to the same place? It makes no sense. So we've diversified our supply chain. That way we can really hone in and capture not only that we're proudly here in Iowa, because we are. All of our employees are here. Our corporate office is here. A lot of our infrastructure is here. But also for the retailers on the East Coast, West Coast, and Southern, we try to get it closer to them and work on costs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And, COVID kind of expedited that. I mean, if you think about it, costs went up, and costs are still up probably on a lot of things. And, we're always trying to find ways to keep our business efficient and keep things moving.
So now you're in 4 facilities throughout the country.
We actually have 5. So we have 5 because we have a couple of different product lines. So we have a primary manufacturer of our sauces, then we have a backup, because COVID taught us one thing, supply chains were running rampant. It was hard to get certain things during the time, especially when China had that big lockdown, importing a lot of goods. Because, we're producing well over 1 million units just of our 5-ounce bottles. That's our 5-ounce bottles. It doesn't include our salsas, our half gallons, and everything else. So, we had to diversify, find backup suppliers, which we have. And then we also have salsas. We have sachets, which are the little to-go squeeze packets. We also have seasonings, too. So a lot of it's done centrally here, locally.
Cool.
And it's great. And, local Midwest and brings a lot of that homage here. So it's a good thing.
So what happened? I'm curious, like COVID, what was that one issue with like all the ships being stuck in a port? Did that affect you? Like, how do you solve those problems and when you come across supply chain issues? Like, what kind of mode do you go to?
You get into a fighting mode, my friend.
Okay.
But yeah, if you think about everything that we consume, whether it's your corrugate boxes or it doesn't even have to be our jars. Let's just say it's a jar of ranch or it's a jar of ketchup. All that stuff is imported. You know what I mean? I wish more of it was made here in America, which is one of our big initiatives. Because if you look on our bottle, we say proudly made in America. Because our big thing is we're a national brand. We're local too, but we're national. And we really want to focus on bringing that infrastructure back to America. It's a huge initiative within our company, along with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, to answer your question, you've got to be aggressive. You know what I mean? Like if somebody says, I can't get this done, you've got to find a way to get it done. It was really kind of cutthroat during the time because at the time suppliers could choose who they wanted to supply, who's going to pay the most money, which is kind of why we have inflation. At the time people are like, okay, well, I've got a customer that's only buying a couple 100,000 units. My costs are going up. My labor's going up. Maybe I can sell it to somebody that has more volume, right? So we had to not only be aggressive on pricing, but we also had to work on building relationships. And we did a good job. We secured our farmers. We went to talk to them. We offered to pay them more because we knew our competition was going to. Because if you think about hot sauce, we're a small company when it comes to hot sauce. There's the big companies, McElhenney, which is Tabasco, Hoi Fong, and then you've got McCormick, which owns all the major brands that are commercially produced. So we had to fight these folks that are bringing in a lot of the supply. And we really made it work by our story, but also going to our partners and saying, look, we're going to pay you more. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do a temporary, and we signed agreements. So
cool.
We really, at the end of the day, we absorbed some of that cost in our margin, but at the same time, we built really good relationships, and we built a brand that was trustworthy. We built like, hey, Taufeek, Lola's is buying, these bottles, but Lola pays on time. We get a little bit more, so we're going to make sure we expedite their orders.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm really curious. So, like, what? Just going back into like the vision of Lola's, right? How do you guys come up with the flavors and the names and all that?
Yeah, so that's all my mom.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So everything that we slap a label on is all a recipe of my mom. I mean, we've had a couple of unique items, like one-offs that we've done, like limited time offerings that, with restaurants or some partners that are, not exactly her recipe, but they also always feature her recipe in it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But really, my mom's chief of our R&D, so she does all of the R&D. So if somebody comes to us, we're kind of the spicy purveyors and knowledge of how we can get things into mass production, right? We're able to do that with our infrastructure and network. And my mom, for example, let's say, and I'm just throwing this out there, let's say a big retailer like Kroger came to Lola's, which we're building that reputation where they come to us for something spicy. Like, hey, we want to do like a spicy ranch, or we want to do like a spicy infused mayonnaise. They're coming to us to help us.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, because we're formulating it. My mom does it all.
Wow.
So she's the one.
And you guys don't do just only spicy, right? That's your bread and butter, but you got some that aren't not spicy?
Yeah, so we've got a mild salsa. Everything that we produce is always back to our flagship brand, the original. So everything we have is infused with it. Like, so even though our mild salsa is mild, we still put a couple of dashes in there so you get that nice garlic, that nice vinegar, that whole taste in there. Excuse me. But yeah, there's an item that is truly not spicy, which is our cranberry almond excuse me, I had some of this Family Reserve earlier, which we should try.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
I'm down.
hot. So
Is that your
good.
spiciest one?
Yeah, it was funny because this is actually a fresh batch that just came in, and
Oh,
my son
really?
and I, we were on the way here to this podcast. I'm like, Talon, try this for me. He tried it, and he's just like, oh, this is the hottest thing. And I'm like, give me some. And I took some, and oh man, I was crying on the way here.
You want to try it, Junior?
Man, heck yeah.
I'm down to try.
we
Absolutely.
did.
I love spicy.
Yeah, so,
spicy.
but yeah, anyways, to answer your question, yeah, we don't have just spicy things. We've got a variety of hot sauces, which is our flagship. We always focus on the hot sauces. We get the salsas, which are very unique too. You can find those in various retailers like Meyer, Hy Vee, and Fairway, and H-E-B. But really, our hot sauce is our flagship, the original. Everything that we do is always paying homage to this particular hot sauce, which is what the heart and soul of our brand is, and from my mom. So, but yeah, we do have a couple of items that aren't spicy.
Okay. This is the one that started it all then.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's our focus.
So we got the original here, and then Family Reserve, which you mentioned. That's the
So
the spiciest one.
yeah, so this is really good. I cracked it open. It's a premium label. We've got the premium box on it. There's really that premium level and market of hot sauce, and this is it. And the reason for the price, like you're gonna find Lola's anywhere from $4 to maybe $5 in your regular retail market. This is about double the price, but we're using aged Carolina Reaper peppers. I mean, a lot.
Wait, you didn't tell us there's Carolina
No,
Reaper
it's
in that.
not. I mean, that's Family Reserve.
Hey, I'm still down to try it.
Okay, should we try it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a little bit about this. We launched this last year, maybe 2 years ago. So this is one batch that my mom would always make for us as a kid, or keep it just for us. It was the hottest one.
Okay.
She would only be like, hey, you want it hotter? I've got this in the stash back there. So this is our hottest one. And actually, this is our #1 selling item in Lowe's home improvement stores. So we're actually national with Lowe's.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that. So
Yeah.
So I saw So what was that partnership you did with Lowe's?
Yeah, so back in 2020 when the pandemic first hit, Damon John had advertised, from Shark Tank. He's such a good guy, also a mentor of ours. But basically, Damon had partnered with Lowe's to find the next best product in America. And in order to do that, his job was to provide a mentorship, seek out new brands, and you had to apply for this. So I had applied, and then I got a call back from the TV producers or the producers for the whole program. They're like, hey, we like your story. Can you send us a video? Sent a video. And then I got another call back saying, hey, you're in the top 50. Send us another video. And I was like, this can't be real. And I slowly realized this is the real deal. So I presented the final video. They loved it. And then they put me in the top 5, which we got. All 5 of us got an opportunity to meet the whole Lowe's executive team. We got to meet Marvin, the CEO, Maureen, who was the chief merchandising officer at the time, Bill Bolts, the chief marketing officer. In Lowe's, mind you, they're the 3rd largest retailer in the country. Did you know that?
I did not.
I'm pretty sure it's either the 3rd or 4th up there. I know it's like Walmart's #1, then it's Home Depot, then it's Lowe's. Lowe's has like over 2,200 stores.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so anyways, got a chance to present to them, made it in the final 3, which was great. Didn't officially win the competition, but the cool thing between the winner and basically the third spot was just the difference in grant money received. So #1, I think, received like a $50,000 grant, where we received a $5,000 grant. But what we all got, which was incredible, and I think it's amazing, is we got a mentorship with Damon John. We got time to just sit down and talk to him about how can we execute our ideas, how can we build our brand, how can we fulfill our mission, and then really the biggest thing was getting our products in all Lowe's stores. So you think in a 2,200 store chain purchase order, and at the time, a lot of retailers, they have category reviews, meaning like, hey, we're going to review ketchups this month of the year. We're going to review hot sauces this time of the year. Well, the hot sauce review had passed. So in order to get our products into Lowe's in time to release the whole package, we had to produce a display. We call it a shipper. But it's basically a corrugate box on a pallet that has units. You know what I mean? You see those big displays?
Yeah. And who designs those? You have someone on your team who does that?
Yeah, we have a marketing director. So we have got a full team, and I shout out to them because we couldn't do this business without them. We've got a full-time staff of 10, and then we have brokers and contractors that help us. Cool. So really nimble and really agile to adapt to any circumstance. But really, it was producing a shipper, and each shipper at the time, I remember corrugate was insane. You know, like freight was up, wood was up. This was like, I'm going to say this was like July, you know what I mean? Like right after, and everything was just through the roof. So we had to create something that could hold enough quantity of this to make the deal profitable, winnable, you know, for both of us to be a win-win, right? Because we got to make something off of it for the premium so we can reinvest it back with the retailer, which we did. But yeah, so we ended up creating like 170, 180 count shipper program that went to all 2,300 stores.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking, you know, if my math sucks right now, but I mean, talking 180 units times 2,200, maybe a few 100,000 bottles just in one single order. So
I'm not sure. Off, there was a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, there's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of negotiating contracts of how much corrugate we're going to buy, wood, who's going to put this together. So it was really a big challenge that we rose to the occasion and we did it.
Nice.
And it changed our business, completely changed our business. It was the biggest order in the history that we've ever had. It was insane.
Wow.
And like continuing on those partnerships. So you're in the Lowe stores. Mm-hmm. Where else have we seen you? We've seen you at Bebop's.
Yeah.
I feel like everywhere I go, it's there, and I'm like, yes, awesome.
So for those of you who are not from the Midwest or from Iowa, because I think Bebop's is an Iowa thing only, right? There's they're considered fast food.
Mm-hmm.
What's the West Coast burger?
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. Yo, y'all have to try Bebop's. I think it's. I put it at the top.
It is so good. Yeah, so you know, Lowe's was the launching point of getting our brand on the map because we just got recognized by so many retailers. But yeah, not only Bebop's, which is an incredible partnership. We've got a spicy mayonnaise that we make, which is Lola's original, infused with a mayo. Goes on their spicy chicken, so we make it in gallons for them. That is used in the back of the house food service. They also carry our packets, so you can add hot sauce to it. And we make a retail unit that you can find in every Hy Vee, and you can find it at Bebop's. But another national partnership that came from this has been with Casey's. So Casey's, we actually have a co-branded snack with them, and it's actually the only Casey's product that's available that is using somebody else's brand on it.
Really?
Yeah. So you talk about Casey's, the fourth largest convenience store chain in America. They have over 2,400 locations. We have a pretzel, a peanut, and a cashew. And they put our bottle on the label, on the unit that they sell.
Packaging?
Yeah, but it's a Casey's item. So we produce a dehydrated form of our seasoning that goes on it, and they sell it, and it's just been an incredible partnership.
I'm going to have to go buy that because I haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. You have to go get it. Yes. And then Come and Go, too. Come and Go has been a great partnership, too. Come and Go uses our packets. We actually produce our original hot sauce in half gallons. Our green jalapeno and serrano, and our Carolina Reaper and Buffalo in half gallons, which is used in the back of the house, but they also feature us on their condiment rack. So people can go up and buy, you know, some of their new food, which is delicious, by the way. I love their snackers. These little sandwiches in their bowls, and you can just grab a sachet and dump it all over your food.
Breakfast pizza.
That's
what I like right there.
So how often do you come out with, or do you attempt to come out with new flavors? Like, do we have a new flavor right here in front of us?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so this is a pretty awesome exclusive. And, you know, after the Casey's deal, we've actually got a lot of these big deals in the pipeline. I can't share much yet because we're bound by NDA with some of our retailer partners. But we've got several new collaboration products coming out. One of them is actually with Hy Vee. We have several of them, actually. It is a mango ginger scotch bonnet hot sauce. Now, it's our first hot sauce with fruit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a huge fan of fruits and hot sauces. I mean, if you do it, you got to do it right. They either come out too sweet or too jammy. It's like at that point, you might as well just buy jam. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this one is like the perfect flavor because we're bringing in fresh, real mango. You should see the machine that we use. We use this giant. It's called an Urschel Cometrol. It's this giant machine that just has these blades that just dices them up. And you see the fresh mango come in, the smell of it. And then we use the Scotch bonnet pepper. So the Scotch bonnet, it's a pepper from the Caribbean, predominantly in Jamaica. It's a beautiful yellow pepper. I think it's the fourth or fifth largest hottest pepper in the world. But it's really good. It's just fruitful. And you add a little bit of ginger in there, and there's a little bit of turmeric, and that's our newest one. You can only get it at Hy Vee. And it's exclusive, yeah.
Exclusive to Hy Vee, okay. And that like sparks curiosity in my mind is like, so when these partnerships arise, is that when you're thinking, okay, let's not do hot sauce for this, let's do the cashews, let's do the peanuts? Or do you kind of already have that stuff stored in the back and you're ready to go?
Good question. You know, we're actually, I can announce this. We're getting ready to launch a cookbook sometime soon here.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay.
my mom is just a fantastic cook. My mom is constantly developing R&D sauces. Like, I mean, she has the best job on the planet. She gets paid, and she doesn't even have to work. I mean, she's still going to get paid. I mean,
She's your mom.
She's my mom. We owe it all to her. But her job is to just come up with things that we can innovate in our pipeline that make sense. It's got to, meet three of the things of our criteria. It's got to be a family recipe. Absolutely. That's number one. Number two, it has to be meaningful and has to be good for people. Like, we don't want to load something up with a bunch of sugar or something. I mean, some sugar is okay. You're going to need that, but we want it to be a good for you product. Okay. And number three, it just has to resonate with the family. Something that, whether it's me or my sisters have eaten, something that makes sense with our brand. Cause Lola's, it can be interpreted in many different ways. What Lola actually means grandmother in Tagalog, which is the Filipino language. So I called it Lola because of my son. I was the first in my family to have a son, and I wanted to eventually pass, maybe my son can take over or just pay homage to that. And my mom, we always called her Lola. You know what I mean? As soon as the kids were born, it's not go see mom, it's not go see grandma, it's go see Lola. And it just sounded better. So it's got to resonate. So not only are we, an Asian minority-owned brand, but we're also very appealing to the masses. You know what I mean? And that's what we want to be. We want to be everybody's sauce.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like, I feel like everything you're doing has a true, like, foundational meaning to it.
100%. Everything we do is all about family. It's whatever my mom would serve us, making sure that we were healthy and had a good childhood. That's what we want to give to everybody else. So that's behind our brand. So if it meets one of those criteria, we're going to launch a product. Obviously, Lola's the final sign-off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a funny story for you. We've actually gone into manufacturing big vats of product. Like when we were going through the R&D process on the mango, we had manufactured a couple of different vats. And my mom's like, nope, not good. And we dumped the whole thing. And I'm just like, oh Mom, we got to dump, thousands worth of dollars worth of ingredients. She's like, yeah, well, part of the process. She has that pull though. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious, like, what's next? Like, what's the vision? What's the empire look like?
Oh man, it's growing so fast. So we're gearing up to launch into new retailers. So one of the retailers I can announce, we're getting ready to launch into about 3,200 to 3,500 Walgreens. So it's our first venture into what we call the mass drug stores. So we're excited to launch in there, and food service has just been amazing for us. Come and go. But not only that, we're in like Dot Foods, we're in Farnerbach and Cisco, Core-Mark, these big food service distribution companies that have really just expanded our brand out. They buy it in bulk quantity and they ship it out. And part of our business has changed. We're in Dot Foods, which Dot is. A lot of people see their trucks and they're like, what is this? They're the largest redistributor of food service goods across the entire United States of America. And on one of those trucks is probably something with Lola's. Excuse me. But yeah, it's awesome. So the next big collaborations that we have is food service has been growing, working on limited time offerings with our signature sauces. If you take just our original or take our Carolina Reaper, mix it with mayo, and mix it with ranch, it's delicious. You know what I mean? Just working with big chains, that's kind of where we're at right now.
How does that work? And I don't know if that was the answer to it. Like, because I've seen I've seen the hot sauce around town in different restaurants. Like, do you personally go to all those restaurants, or how's that connection? How's that made?
Yeah. So, food service is all about relationships. There's hundreds of hot sauces that they can choose from, but we have a great food service team. We build our food service relationships on the foundation that we're going to service you with hot sauces. Tabasco's not going in there to your local restaurant saying, hey, we're going to give you a rebate or we're going to do something for you, plug you in on social media. We have a team that does that, but then we also have broker teams, and our broker teams are extensions of our sales teams. So we get our brokers together once a month and we lead, not conferences, but meetings, I should say, to tell them about our brand. What's our mission? So they can go out and spread that mission at the higher level and bring it top down to the sales reps and everybody so that they can spread that. So that's really our team. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, we do. We have a few people that go directly to these restaurants.
Oh, that's
yeah.
So how big do you see this going? Like, is it just keep going until you take over the world? Like, where do you see it going? Like, do you see? Yeah, I'm just curious. Do you have a big, massive plan for this, or?
Yeah, so I mean, Lola's sky's the limit. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, what's really cool about our brand is we're a very data-driven organization. We get data, so we pay for data, which tells us how we're doing at the store level. Oh, cool. You know what I mean? Like actual store level, not just, hey, we sold a bunch of hot sauce to this distributor. How are we actually selling in Walmart? How are we actually selling in Target per store? And to give you an idea, there's 800 to 870 to like 1,000 different hot sauce companies. The top 20 of them are all your name brands. You got your Huy Fong Foods, you got your Tabasco, McCormick, which owns Cholula and Frank's. And then they own the rest, like the next 20. It's two or three companies that are in this game. Oh, wow. And then you look at numbers 30 to 50, by the way, which Lola's were actually in the top 1 percentile of hot sauce companies. We're in that range. And there's, we see the data of where we are, and we see how our competitors are doing. To us, we've just hit the tip of the iceberg. But we're really becoming a big splash in this industry because we're keeping up with some of the big dogs.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So anyways, to answer your question, I always tell my team we've got work to do. You know what I mean? We're still not everywhere. I mean, we're in a lot of retail doors. We're in all 50 states over many, many retailers, the Walmarts, the Targets, Kroger's, Walgreens come and goes of the world, but there's still more that we have to get after. You know what I mean? There's still the single mom and pop stores. There's still that restaurant that's maybe in Albia, Iowa, or in some small town in Ohio. I don't know. We want to be able to get our brand out there and just add as much value as we can and add as much delicious flavor. So I see this thing getting bigger, better, and we've just hit the tip of the iceberg. And then we got other countries to get our products to.
I was about to say, is the Philippines the first one out of the country?
We're in the Philippines already.
Oh, you already are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're actually in the Philippines and we're in Canada. So we have, we actually have national distribution in Canada through some of their largest distributors. We actually have just won a new partnership that we're getting ready to launch. And there's a retailer up there. I can't name it just until we release it, but we're actually working on a co-branded project with them. They're essentially the Trader Joe's of Canada. They've got around 80 stores. They're under the Longo Sobeys banner, so they're a big entity up there. We're going to be producing 4 SKUs of hot sauce for them. It's going to be interesting. So it's just a whole different dynamic. But yeah, we're also in the Philippines already. We're in Healthy Options, which is kind of a Whole Foods equivalent in the Philippines. And what's really cool is we actually, I don't know if I can say this, but let's just say there's a big Filipino restaurant. You guys probably know about this. There's some in America. It's a fast food joint. Can't say it, but you know what I'm talking about. They serve delicious Filipino spaghetti, fried chicken, very well known. We're actually in talks with them, working on some special projects. If this goes through, it'd just be a great Lola comes home story. So we've got a lot of big partnerships teed up in the pipeline, so we're excited.
So right now, U.S., Philippines, and Canada for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. England. Where's England at?
I know. Where are my Europeans at?
Yeah,
we
for
real. Hot sauce.
Mexico's ready
Yeah,
too.
The Latino countries.
That
for
would be
sure.
awesome. If you guys have any connects, we would love to. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah. No, yeah. I might actually have a couple contacts for you.
That would be awesome, Junior.
Yes. I have some cousins that are pretty heavy more in the distribution side of things. So we're going to connect off.
That's exactly what we need. And we can even make it in Mexico too. We can work on that so we can, that's the beauty. A lot of these countries, like when you go up north to Canada, made in Canada is a real big deal because if you look at, and we've learned this by doing business over the last 3 years with them, is a lot of things, and I mean, this is just what I've heard, you know what I mean, in my interactions with them. I don't know whether they're true or not, but most of the food already in Canada is healthy already. It's a big deal. Like, they don't even look at some of the ingredients that we have here in the States. They won't even bring it into Canada. They have certain standards, which is interesting, and we're learning more and more about this. We just actually did the CHFA show, which is Canada Health Food Expo up in Vancouver. My team was out there. They did a successful show, but there's just so many different rules. Everything's already fair and equitable. Like, they don't have diversity DEI programs like we do because it's already baked into their culture, I guess, wow. Which is interesting. So, a lot of the deals we've won here, we're really trying to focus on the retailer, showing not only can we add value and increase revenues, but also DEI, right? Can I help in that scenario? But in Canada, since that's already established, the big thing up there is made in Canada. So we've been facilitating contracts to work on production to help scale and grow our business up north with Mom's Recipes to try to bring that market some good sauce. So Mexico, where I'm going to, is maybe we could do a made in Mexico and really help out, not only stimulate the economy, but give them a great product.
Heck yeah.
Might have to do like a special edition, like in Mexico. Like I don't know what kind of pepper.
I know. That'd be there's so many great peppers in Mexico. Yeah. We get a lot of peppers. Actually, a lot of our peppers, they come from Mexico, California, Texas. There's a lot of great places where we get our peppers.
Man, I just love your energy and your passion. So, like, you have an amazing story. So, like, what's your, like, advice to someone out there who's, like, has this dream or has this family story? Like, how do you like, what are the tips or advice you give to young people or anyone, doesn't matter at what age you are, to pursue something like this dream, this vision that means something to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I would say just keep going. You got to find something, They talk about finding your purpose, right? You got to find something that you really love through the ups and through the downs. You know what I mean? Something when times get tough that no matter what, you're going to make it through, and you just got to keep on going. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs where they fail or they don't continue is because the pressure gets so high. And what's that phrase? Diamonds are made with pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure, no diamonds. No pressure, no diamonds, right?
Having that pressure makes you into a better entrepreneur. Failing and mistakes help you shape your brand into what it needs to be. And my advice to entrepreneurs is if you are really going to do this and you want to do it, then do it. 100% into it. Go get it. Don't give up. Any challenge that arises, meet it, rise it, take it head on, and take it to the moon.
Dang.
And to put that into perspective, how old were you when you founded it in 2016?
Gosh, how old am I now? I think I'm 30. How old? I'm 36. I had to think about that now. So I founded 6 years ago. I would have been 29 on the cusp of 30. Okay. So yeah.
Just because, people are always talking about, like how you mentioned, like it's too late or
it's not too late.
Things like that. So I just wanted to put that into perspective.
Trying to catch up with you, Antonio. Killing it on the real estate game, brother.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I love it. So where can people like follow all of your content and anything that's Lola's like out there? Like where can they find you?
Absolutely. You can find us at lolasfinehotsauce.com. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram and Facebook are Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. Twitter was Lola's Fine Sauce, just because Twitter's got the limit on what you can title your thing. Yeah. And then obviously we're also on TikTok as Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. And I mean, we're on every platform, Snapchat, you name it, at Lola's. So
can they see see you doing those TikTok dances on
there? Yeah. I need to get involved a little bit more on that. Are we going to try this?
Yeah.
We're skipping
let's
this
do it.
out.
Heck yeah.
We got to try the reserve.
Huh? Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're absolutely good.
So this one, the family reserve. What's the best way to try this here? What do you think?
I will lead the way.
Okay.
And I'll show you how we do it. So you just take a little dab, and just put it right on there.
Okay.
And just try it, just like that.
Oh, I didn't think it was gonna come out that fast.
It's all good. We don't use any fillers or any xanthan gums because we want it to be all natural.
All right, ready, Junior?
Ooh, I think I took mine before you guys. Yeah. It'll wake you up.
Yeah, I got a good amount in there.
I love it.
That is good.
It's got great flavor. You guys can handle the heat. Your face is getting red.
Oh yeah. No, I love it. I love it.
Good.
It tastes good.
This is the one that's also at Bebop's, right?
So the one at Bebop's is the original.
That's the original. Okay, that's the one I just pour all over my nuggets and just go to town on it. Man. It's so good.
Hey, I'm not stepping away because it's too hot. I'm stepping away because there's a napkin right there. Okay.
Right. Nice.
He's already crying.
We should try. We should try the mango ginger too. That one's so good too, guys. It's our first fruit one.
Let me grab this real quick.
You bet.
I'll give you the honors.
Yeah, I'll crack this guy open. It's so good. I love it.
I'm afraid to try that one.
Oh,
but
that's
I
the
want
original.
to. Oh no, that's the original. This was the the family reserve.
Yeah, that's the family.
That's why it hit a little hard.
Yeah, it hits.
That was the spiciest one.
Good though. It's so good.
It's a good kind of spicy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're eating the reserve, you're layering it on. You just dump. Okay, it's hot, and then you go in for your second bite. You add a little more. Like, holy smokes! you're crying or your mouth's on fire. This one is so good too. This is. It's got a nice kick to it. The Scotch bonnet the mango, ginger, and turmeric.
Ooh, that's smooth.
Isn't that awesome?
It's very smooth.
And you know how we get it smooth? We use real mango in there. It's not like a jam or a puree. It's like a real deal, and it's you get such a great flavor, and you get a lot of the nutritional values too.
What's your favorite thing to put this one on then? So
Oh
far?
man, fish tacos,
Fish tacos?
or
Okay.
fish. Put it on like carnitas. It goes really well with pork. You know, it's crazy. I have different hot sauces for different things.
A little bit more of that.
That one is good.
Isn't that awesome? You can even put that on ice cream.
Oh, I have to try that one out.
Yep.
And then, so original, I'm assuming is probably the
Yeah.
most popular.
I know
one,
the
right?
original one for sure.
yeah, I've tried
this
that
was the one that
original, too.
this is hot.
It
Yet
is,
It's
yeah.
not like where it hurts hot. This is like a good flavor hot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So you said fish tacos for this one or ice cream.
Yeah.
Family Reserve, what's your go-to on that one?
Everything.
Yeah.
That's a staple in
Everything.
our house. We eat it spicy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we got to. If it's not spicy, we're not eating it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm the same way. I did the one chip challenge. I do not recommend that thing.
Oh, that thing is hot,
my
especially
God.
if you do it like on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God, that's the worst. I've done that before because I mean I like to think I can handle spicy.
Yeah, me too.
For
Yeah.
me, like spicy that's what I grew up eating.
Yeah,
you know,
put it on everything.
My dad's Pakistani, and you know we'd have Pakistani is very heavily influenced in spice. Here you go, guys. If you want to try the original,
Okay, so at this point, how many times have you sampled a hot sauce?
I eat hot sauce every day.
Right?
I eat
So, like-
Lola's on everything. Yeah.
You just is it where like your mom comes over and like, hey, Taufeek, try this one out, or like
Yep.
you have a team, or like how's that kind of work?
We
out?
do. So we have a team. So we've got a VP of sales, food service, retail. We have a North American retail team. Then we've got our incredible back of the house team, like our office supportive staff, like freight, LTL, and administrative, and our controller team are just incredible at making sure we get good deals. But whenever my mom gets something new, it's like people love this, and I feel like this is why people love coming to our office. Is my mom's like, "Oh, my mom made a new sauce," and they're like, "But not only does my mom just serve the sauce, she whips up a delicious dish. She'll
Oh,
serve her
man.
biryani, which
Whole
is a
meal?
Pakistani dish, or she'll cook some adobo or some sisig. It's just she'll bring like a big tray of Filipino or Pakistani food and be like, "Oh, you need to try it on this," and everybody's like, "Oh, we can't wait for
So
Lola's
it's like
food
a
day."
whole event.
It's a whole event. Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I love it.
Dude,
I
this
love
is hard to like say which one is my favorite. Like obviously, if I want spicy, Family Reserve all day. But I'm almost liking this mango one a
isn't that
little bit more
awesome?
than the original.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. You know, we actually have, I want to kind of let this out because we're getting ready to launch 2 new sauces with Hy Vee very soon. So actually, one of the sauces we already have, we produce tons of gallons of it. It's our Buffalo Lola. It's basically Lola's
it.
original.
Say that again.
Buffalo Lola.
Buffalo.
Buffalo Lola. So it's buffalo sauce, but you know what buffalo sauce is? The true buffalo sauce, not like the Frank's Red Hot. You know, the Frank's they don't use real butter; they use hydrogenated soybean oil. But the true, real buffalo sauce uses butter. It's a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of garlic, some spices, and real butter. We take Lola's original, add a little bit of cayenne, spices, and real butter. And it is delicious. It's the best wing sauce. And it just sticks to your wings or just incorporates into your dish so well. But we produce it right now in gallons. We used to have it in a 5-ounce bottle, but we actually discontinued it because people are like, hey, 5 ounces isn't enough. We need more. So now we're relaunching it in a nice squeezable 10-ounce bottle. So you're going to get tons of that. So that's one that's going to be launching very soon. And then we have something that I'm super excited for. I wanted to avoid this for a long time, but sriracha sauce, right? Sriracha is a type of sauce. You know, I think it comes from Thailand, from the Southeast Asia. Well, you know, my fiance, she's half Cambodian, half Thai, and she loves Lola's, number one.
Yeah.
But we also have our own version of sriracha that we're launching called Lola Racha. Yeah, it's so good. I mean, it's completely different than what you're going to get, with other sriracha sauces because it's going to be all natural. And it just has this delicious tang, and it's made with Lola's original as the base. So it's exciting. Yeah, it's an exciting one. It's going to be launching very soon, actually.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
You might have to make a Failing Adds Up hot sauce.
We got to do a follow-up.
Oh, we have to.
Yeah, we got
Like,
beef jerky, too.
We have to try them all, like
Oh, yeah.
that'd be so much fun. So
Absolutely.
man, this has been awesome. And this one's really
man, this
smooth.
one's so good.
This one's amazing, and this one gets you that zinger that you always want.
That's the stinger right there.
I love it. Awesome. So Again, thank you so much for being on here. Like, I can't wait to have you again in another year or 2 years, because I feel like like you said earlier, it's the tip of the iceberg. You guys are going to be everywhere because this is just so good.
Yeah, thank you so much, Junior and Antonio. Seriously, you guys are incredible too. The amazing things that you're doing at Ibarra Realty and all that too, and with this Failing Adds Up, it's awesome, man. I'm impressed. You guys are the younger generation that's up and coming and hustling, and I believe in you guys, and I want to partner with you guys. Like, this is the best collaboration ever. You know?
Yeah, I love it. It's just so cool to like hear these stories. Because like you said, what did you say earlier about failure? Say that again.
Yeah, failures are shaping your brand. They're shaping your mission. I don't view it as this is the end all be all. This is how can we make our thing better? Because the mistake happened. Some are, unfortunate. They're not controllable in a controlled state. But once you get hit with some of the hardest mistakes or challenges, it makes you a stronger person and makes you that much more resilient to build your brand.
Awesome. Any last shout outs to some people out there before we end it?
Absolutely. Shout out to Talon, who's been
Talon.
awesome. My son, he's
Let's
incredible.
go, Talon.
Let's go.
My mom, Lola, she's the driving force behind our brand. I owe it all to her where we're here, and to our incredible team, and to all of the loyal fans that love Lola's. We truly couldn't be here without you guys. It's been awesome taking this from Mom's Kitchen to farmers markets now to the rest of the globe, and we can't thank you enough for supporting our brand and mission, and we're here for you, and thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much once again, Taufeek, and also thank you to every single one of you for all the support you've been giving Failing Adds Up as well. As he mentioned, please go check out Lola's Fine Hot Sauce. It would mean the world to us if you went ahead, go on his social media, tag him, say, hey, we watched you on the Failing Adds Up podcast. Like it up, share his content. And yeah, man, big inspiration to me. I've always been following you since we met. So thank you once again for taking the time on this. And we will continue to be pushing out more and more content. We're super excited. Like we mentioned, we do already have more interviews and episodes lined up. So we got some insurance gurus coming in. I know we got a financial advisor, investor guy coming. We got actually a boxer coming in too as well. So make sure you stay tuned for those episodes. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.
Amplified.
Thanks for tuning in with us on this episode of Failing Adds Up. Till next time.